Hi, this is Ron Turner. Welcome to this episode of Frontrunner 2020. Folks, the reason that I pursued David and invited him to make this presentation is because this, as he pointed out, the profile of successful winning candidates shows you that the people are active in these organizations, and too many times I've seen people try to leap over these steps and run for office when they're not ready, and the outcome oftentimes is not the victory that they seek. So I really appreciate that. Again, you all know me. You know the mission of Frontrunner 2020. The whole point is for people to be prepared when they run for office, and so that the campaign is almost easy. And to become part of the Frontrunner 2020 community, we're everywhere. Go to the website. We have transcripts of the first 5 episodes up there right now with links and show notes, frontrunner2020.com. The Facebook page, do me a favor, like the Facebook page, Frontrunner 2020. YouTube channel, make sure you go to the channel. It's a much nicer interface that we've created than just searching for the videos that appear randomly. It's youtube.com/frontrunner2020TV, and it's picky. The TV has to be capitalized, but find the channel and you'll see all of our programs there with the slides. Follow us on Twitter at FrontRunner2020, and if you like audio, find it in iTunes Store and look for Frontrunner 2020. And that concludes episode 6. Yay, 6 episodes completed. David, thanks again for doing this. I really appreciate it. And now we come to the time of the program where we check in with Dave Bonham. He's the Deputy Campaign Manager at Ellen Cohen for Houston City Council. Dave helps us connect each week's material with the activities of an actual campaign. So, Dave, I understand that the campaign has started using Hootsuite for its social media activities now. That came up in our first episode, and we didn't go into any detail about that tool. So why don't you tell us about your experience with it?
Sure, yeah. I mean, we've been using Hootsuite for quite some time now, and the great thing about it is it allows you to put out a social media post through multiple platforms. So for Ellen's case, we have a Twitter account, she has a Facebook, and we also have a fan page. And so we can put out one little blast and it goes out across all 3. But what we have started doing recently as our campaign has been ramping up and as we've wanted to increase our just presence on the online community, we have started doing scheduled blasts. And track with me for a second because it's a little confusing, but essentially we pre-upload something about a place she's going to, a meeting she's going to have, if she's traveling somewhere, or if we have some campaign event, and we put it up there, you know, a week in advance, and then it goes out. And then the great thing about it is afterwards we put a little reminder on her calendar, hey, make sure you tweet about this, make sure you Facebook about this. And she just goes on her phone and uses Hootsuite and then blast something out across the 3 different platforms we have. But it's great. You know, we have increased our social media 4- or 5-fold. I think people are starting to notice it. I think they appreciate it. I don't know if it has specifically netted us any volunteers yet or anything like that, but you can definitely see our responses and just people getting plugged in increased tremendously.
That's fantastic. I use that, but I just have not immersed myself in it to see all the advanced features that you're using. And it's not very expensive. My account, if I remember right, is $4.99 a month.
Ron, I think you might be getting ripped off. I'm pretty sure ours is free.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I better look at that again. Somebody's dinging my credit card for something.
Well, but you know what? That brings up a good point. I remember someone in Josh's presentation asking, well, what if you just don't want to trust your candidate? What if you want to vet what they're saying or clean up their language or make sure, X is happening, Y is happening, and Z is certainly not happening. I know there are some features on there that allow people to put and upload content, but then it needs to be approved by another person. So that might be like a paid account feature. I don't know. We don't quite do that way, but it's definitely worth something checking into.
Okay, yeah, different levels of service there, obviously, but Hootsuite and boy, let me look on my screen here. HOOTSUITE.
Exactly, and you can use it on your computer. You can use it on your phone on the go. It's a great tool. It's a great application, and like I said, I'm pretty sure our account is free. So.
Okay, right. So there you go. So get a free Hootsuite account and experiment with it. So let's get to this week's topic from episode 1 to episode 6. Episode 6, David Smith was talking about civic engagement and talked about the different organizations. So you've had a chance to review that program now. What's your reaction?
Well, everything is really important in a campaign. There's always more to do than you have the time, the staff, the money, and the resources for. But attending these groups, getting involved in these organizations is something not to be skipped over. Not only are they good building blocks for meeting people, getting involved with the community, and then once you are an elected official, understanding how the process works, it helps enlist support. A campaign should never be a one-person show. It is the opposite. You want as many people in there doing as many things as possible, and that almost by nature is the definition of the campaign. Managing all of these independent parties, groups coming in, doing things, making sure they do a good job, and at the end of the day, putting out a good result. And by going to, your Rotary Club or your religious group or your school board or whatever it may be, not only should you be getting a firm understanding of how the operation works as well as who the players are, these should be touch points of influence where you are hopefully winning people over, and realize you can't win everyone over, but some, so that when you hit the ground running for your campaign and when you put out that specific call for help, those people are coming in to block walk for you, make phone calls, or just set up a meeting and say, hey, you know what, Dave? You know what, Ron? There's this guy I really think you should meet. Or there's this young woman I really think you should meet. And those are worth so much more than you will ever realize.
That's a really good point, Dave. You remind me of how I see politicians oftentimes interviewed on TV, and they say, we are running for re-election, we are doing this. And at first I thought it was an affectation, but now I completely understand that, it's like a band. It's a group effort.
I mean, that's completely right. No politician, no candidate could ever do it by themselves. And something to keep in mind, it seems like in America now, new is better. Out with the old, out with, the DC establishment. And when you are running for office and you are not already an incumbent or an elected official, you get a little bump, you get a little buzz. And when you're new and you're exciting, people want to help you. They want to get involved, and it's usually for a self-seeking reason almost, whether they believe that you can do better than the last person or whether they just believe that by helping you, they can be in your inner circle. But nevertheless, there are tons of people out there that want to get involved and want to help you, as long as you present yourself and make the case that you are worth their efforts and their time.
That's great. That's fantastic, Dave. That's some really good insight that that adds to the value of what David presented to us. Well, let me share your contact information if anybody wants to follow up with Dave. He does let us give out his personal email address, Dave Bonham, and I will spell the email. It's David, D-A-V-I-D, Bonham, B-O-N-E-M, at gmail.com. David.bonham at gmail.com. And now let's just wrap it up. Dave, do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, just one simple thing. Don't get overwhelmed. There's always more to do in a campaign than you will ever have time for. And specifically speaking to what David talked about, the 8 different types of groups you can join or be a part of, there are always going to be plenty more groups that have a meeting than you want to go to, should go to, or have time to go to. Always have a game plan. Always have a purpose for going to a group. And, yes, it is very important to be on a leadership role in some groups just so you get that experience and you get plugged in that way and whatnot. But also realize sometimes, you just need to stop into groups every once in a while. Like he said, the difference between his personal business experience and then the civic clubs, he could plan on having a Monday morning meeting with his business and 95% of his staff being there, whereas we all know that's not the case when it comes to civic groups. So just have a game plan in mind, have reasonable goals, and always be willing to shift, to make changes, and just, keep the goal in sight.
Well said, Dave. I appreciate your presence here. Thanks a lot. Have a good week on the campaign trail.
Thanks, Ron. Everyone have a good week, too.